Back to the story we're covering for you top to bottom today. Bob and Harvey Weinstein need a blockbuster, and if Inglourious Basterds isn't a hit, the brothers may be out of business. We wanted to know what it'll take for the Weinsteins to prove they've still got the movie-making magic that brought us Good Will Hunting and Pulp Fiction. So I asked James Mullany, an investment banker who specializes in the film business.
They've really heavily marketed it, both domestically and internationally. The reviews have been relatively good, although many have said that it was long, at least when it premiered in Cannes. I believe this is a slightly different version. The issue is can they deliver the first weekend box office? Obviously, Tarantino has a fanatic base of people who want to see his films. The question is, will they all go out the first weekend? And even if they all do go out the first weekend, how much business will they generate? And frankly, you know, nobody really knows. Friday night, they'll be basically tallying it up and seeing whether or not they've got something that's going to earn their print and advertising costs back and perhaps make some money for them, or not. But as you say, it is a make-or-break type of situation.
It's got to be north of $100 million they spent, about 70 to make the film. You have to figure they spent at least 30, which is what they spent on Zach and Miri Make a Porno to market this film. Do you really think they can bring in $100 million at the box office or more?
You know what? I'm a banker, and you ask me about film performance. I can tell you what happens once people go see it, and it does, something at the box office. But frankly, if the studios don't know what a film is going to do, how would a banker know? That's
a fair point. Let me ask you this question, though. If they don't make it at the box office, what prospects does a film like this, from a valuation standpoint, have overseas, on DVD, on cable? It seems that those markets have been steering more towards lower-cost films, not the attempted blockbusters starring Brad Pitt like this.
Well, lately, international markets have really loved big American films, particularly ones that are graphic and somewhat violent, other than perhaps Scandinavian countries. But the fact is that I think everyone is hoping that the film does extremely well internationally, and I believe Universal has the international rights on that. I'm sure they're crossing their fingers. The key there is that domestically, pay TV will pay a certain price based on box office. Video, it could be a decent release in video, just because again there's a big fan base. The question, though, is even for the biggest films, the video numbers are softer than they had been for the last number of years. Beyond that, free TV, if the thing is highly violent and or sexy, you're going to have to edit it, and the question is whether Tarantino will permit it to be edited for broadcast standards on cable and network, for that matter. Long term, I think that Tarantino's films probably have a life of their own compared to other films of a similar genre with a high budget.
Because of the cult following. You mentioned that so much is riding on this. If Inglourious Basterds flops, do you think, from a banker's perspective, anybody would step up and finance the Weinstein brothers again?
Well, I think that it's just symbolic of the industry right now. Wall Street financed the studios and a number of the independents for the last 5 years, and to a large extent, they lost their bet. And right now, I don't see any equity coming from the public markets, from the private equity markets, or even major strategic investors from overseas. Everyone wants a different kind of a deal than what's being traditionally offered by the studios. So until a realistic deal with fair terms comes around, it's going to be hard-pressed for anybody, any studio for that matter, to raise a significant amount of coin.
Jim, we've only got 30 seconds left here. If things don't work out, they have to start selling off their back catalog. It doesn't have a whole lot of hits in there. There's no Good Will Hunting, no Pulp Fiction, maybe Miss Potter and a couple of minor hits. How much can they hope to generate?
I would say on the conservative side that it's going to be a tough road.
Okay, that is Jim Mullany, Managing Director at Salem Partners, joining us to talk about Inglourious Basterds, the prospect for the Weinstein brothers. It's a big day for Inglourious Basterds. We'll see how they do. Thanks very much, Jim.